Okay, strap in and let's sort out the remaining drama. And there is still plenty of that left in the AFC heading into week 17. The calculations come from the Playoff Computer app. Check it out for fantasy sports or even do your own analysis of many pro leagues, including the NFL. For an entire year, the premium stuff is about the price of one beer. Drama number one is the AFC East. Both the Patriots and Bills have clinched playoff spots. Now they have to decide who wants to be the division winner. The Patriots are a game up in the standings and get the hapless Jets and the quarterback controversy Dolphins to finish up. So probably in good shape. But if things go haywire, things get interesting real fast. Note their conference record, 7-3 compared to the Bills' 8-3. So the Patriots can clinch the division with a win over the Jets and a Bills loss to the Eagles, which is certainly in the plausible range. Now, if both of those things don't happen, we do go to week 18 with the Bills still having a chance. And one programming note, I do not discuss the possibilities of tie games in this because of the odds of that happening being fairly remote. And more importantly, they really gum up the discussion for something being fairly remote. We deal with them as they happen, and we will bring them into the equation in week 18 so that we have everything covered. Back to this scenario. Because the Bills could either still win by having a better record, or if these teams tie, either at 13-4 or 12-5, it means the Patriots would have lost to either the Jets or Dolphins, or both. And if they end up tied, they split the season series. They would have the same division record, either 4-2 or 3-3. And in this end up tied scenario, they would have the same common game record, either 10-2 or 9-3, meaning it would come down to the conference record in which the Bills would win. So with the Bills being, well, the Bills, the Patriots very well may need to win out to take the division. Drama number two is a strange one. The Broncos and Chargers have also clinched playoff spots, so now fighting over the AFC West. The Broncos have the one-game lead in the standings, but because they play each other in Week 18 and the Chargers beat the Broncos earlier, if Denver doesn't settle it this week, that game will be for the division. The Broncos clinched the AFC West this week with a win over the Chiefs and a Chargers loss to the Texans. If both of those things don't happen, the Week 18 game will be for all the division marbles. Either the Broncos will win it by record or the Chargers will win it by record. Or if they end up tied in the standings and the Chargers win their game, they will have swept the series and will win the head-to-head tiebreaker. The Broncos play on Thursday and the Texans-Chargers game is on Saturday. So we will know early whether the Week 18 game matters, at least as far as the division title goes. And here is all that in written format if you're watching the YouTube. The Bills, as mentioned, clinched a spot. Play Philadelphia this week. If they win or the Patriots lose, they will still have a chance at the division. Drama number three is the AFC South. The Jaguars have clinched a playoff spot. They have a game lead over the Texans for the division. They clinched the AFC South with a win over the fading Colts and a Texans loss to the Chargers. If both of those don't happen, they would either need a win or a Texans loss in Week 18. If they were to end up tied in some way, it would mean they would lose the division tiebreaker to the Texans. The Chargers have clinched a playoff spot. As we talked about, still have a chance in the AFC West as long as they remain no worse than a game back of the Broncos. They play the Texans, which seems to be the game that may settle some of the drama in one way or another and may inflame others. The Texans are still in a fight for the AFC South, but they haven't clinched a playoff spot yet. So that is priority number one. And they clinch a playoff spot with a win over the Chargers or a Colts loss to the Jaguars. Either one of those keeps the Colts from being able to catch them. Or the Texans are in with wins by the Chiefs, Ravens, Buccaneers, Bills, 49ers, and Rams. Now I know you're saying, did this guy go mental in the middle of this? Probably, but also, what possibly could any of those games have to do with anything? And the reason is, if in the unlikely scenario the Texans lose in Week 17 and the Colts win, and then the Colts beat the Texans in Week 18, they would both finish 10-7. They would have split the season series. They would have the same division records. They would have the same common games records. They would have the same conference records, which means in this case we would proceed to strength of victory. And right now, Houston has what seems to be a big advantage in that department. 65, let's call it SOB wins to 46. But if the Colts win their next two, including against the Texans, they pick up at a minimum 21 more wins. The Texans would gain 2 since they beat the Colts once. That leaves them both at 67. So it would come down to which one's opponents win more games over the next 2 weeks or which one's opponents lose more. And this could even come down to strength of schedule, which could be tight as well. Now, since this gets complex really fast and is still an unlikely scenario, and the Texans play on Saturday, I think we'll wait to see if it is still possible after that game before breaking it down to oblivion. So look for an update here or check the NFL Playoff Race subreddit page for updates. Now, if that wasn't enough, we still got drama number 4, the AFC North. The Steelers now have a 2-game lead over the Ravens, meaning the Steelers need to simply either beat the Browns or have the Ravens lose to the Packers to clinch the division. Otherwise, guess what? They play each other Week 18, and this is the only scenario that the Ravens can take the AFC North. If they win out, including beating the Steelers in Week 18, and the Steelers lose as well to Cleveland this week, the Ravens would take the division record tiebreaker. So the Ravens still have a chance. Seems like the Packers might be without Jordan Love, although they themselves might be without Lamar Jackson. But all they need to do to make Week 18 meaningful is to win and hope their bestest buddies, the Cleveland Browns, hate the Steelers a little bit more and manage to knock them off. And like they say in poker, while things are not looking good for the Colts, they still have a chip in a chair, need 2 improbable victories and the Chargers to beat the Texans, and hope the strength of victory gods smile and they sneak in. That's it for now. Check out the Playoff Computer app for all your own playoff race analysis needs and enjoy your day.